Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. My name's Chad Hobson, and I'm going to be your naturalist for the afternoon. I do hope everybody is having a fantastic Sunday morning, whether you still lying in bed watching or sitting on the couch relaxing. Please do remember that this is a live and interactive show. Um, if you would like to send through any questions or comments, please send them through on our website, or you can join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. So this morning we're starting out at Djuma Private Game Reserve up in the northern parts of the Sabi Sands, where looks like we've got two male Inyalas that are just on the outskirts of this waterhole. So it does look like it is a very nice day at Djuma. The sun is shining. Why don't we have a look at the weather at all our different locations? So it does seem like it is quite a hot day in a lot of the parts of the country where we do have our different cameras. So hopefully today's going to be a good day. Hopefully we'll bring some luck, and you never know what comes down. But these two Nyalas, they do look like young male Nyalas. So often you'll find the two young male Nyalas will often spend time together, and once they do leave the herd or get kicked out of the herd, they will then often form a bachelor group. So they'll spend time in a bachelor group all by themselves, and while they're doing this, is all they want to do is grow big and strong, and be able to then fight an older male to try and then take over that harem. But I mean, I've been saying that they are young. You can just see by their horns that they are a lot younger than the old male Nyala. Judy, you saying looking forward to some action at the waterholes? Definitely. I'm also looking forward to spending the whole afternoon at the waterhole and seeing what comes down to drink. I'm sure as it does heat up a little bit later on in the day, there's most likely going to be some herds of elephants that come down to drink, but you never know what else comes down. The other day, if you were watching, we had a leopard at Rosie's Pan um, up in the Baluli Private Game Reserve in the Kruger, so you never know. Also at Juma, there's lots of different leopards and lions and things like that, and you never know what comes down. So we'll just have to wait and see. Excuse me. Wally, you saying good evening, Chad? Good evening to you, Wally, wherever you may be. I hope you are enjoying the show so far. And Yalas are very, very beautiful antelopes. I mean, have a look at that color of theirs. There's almost a mane that's growing on their back and their neck. A very shaggy coat. Victor, you saying, excuse me, Victor, you saying that you loving the horns and you're asking when do they start developing? So horns in males, you'll often see them probably somewhere around 6 or 7 months. That's when you'll first start to see those horns. And male and females, they differ quite a lot. And males do have horns where females don't. And also, the females actually a very, very red color. Um, the sexual dimorphism in Nyalas is quite significant, unlike a lot of the other animals or the antelopes, whereas impalas, females don't have horns, males do, and they are very, very similar, whereas Nyala is very, very different. Jive Bunny, you saying morning from a chilly UK. Hope we see the baby hippo at Juma. There's a cute waterbuck. I also do hope we get to see that young waterbuck as well as that baby hippo. I think that hippo is in the water, but after we spent a little bit of time with these inyalas, we'll then be able to cross over to the water and see. Patterson Gargan, you saying hi, Chad, watching from Australia. It seems like we've got people that have tuned in from all over the world. Some people in the UK, some people in Australia. I'm sure there's a few South Africans that are watching. And Javani, you're saying that you love the male Nyala dance ritual. Um, it is a incredible thing to see that you can hear the hippo in the background. Often male Nyalas will size one another up. That's what Javani is referring to. It's a territorial display or dance. And what they do is they call it palo erection, where they lift up the mane on their back or their spine, and they actually will then size one another up. They're almost like boxers will be sparring with one another. They'll go around in a little circle, and often what they do is they put their head down and they put their horns up, and they're trying to see who's bigger and stronger than one another. Sometimes the younger one will back off, but if that doesn't happen, what often then will happen is that they will then fight one another. And in my 8 years of guiding, I've actually only ever seen Inyalas fighting once, and it was quite something to see. I mean, 100, maybe 80 to 100 kilograms running at one another with those horns. The clash, the sound of the horns clashing was quite something. There you can just see the back end of a hippo in this waterhole at Juma. Kennedy, and you're saying hello from British Columbia, Canada. Good morning to you. I'm sure you are pretty cold um, out there in Canada, so hopefully you are staying warm and you're enjoying this live at the Waterhole show with us today.
Tis the season of love, and couples that win together stay together. Grab your partner and join us for an interactive quiz this Valentine's Day. To be a part of the romance, go to our website and register in teams of two. Name your team after your favorite rom-com or the rom-com couple that represents your relationship. Fall in love with nature this Valentine's Day with WildEarth.
So you can see there that this hippo has just got its nose and eyes out of the water. Often, what hippos will do is they'll often sleep at the bottom of the water. So, what they do is they'll spend time at the bottom, and only when they need to breathe do they then lift their heads up. And they can often stay underwater for 8 to 10 minutes or so. And then subconsciously, they'll then rise, they'll take a breath, and then they'll go back down. So, I think that might be exactly what this hippo is doing here. Kennedy, and you're saying that we've warmed up to minus 15 and have about 30 centimeters or 12 inches of snow. That's pretty incredible. Um, it's quite a hot day here in Johannesburg. It's quite a hot day in Johannesburg at the moment. Not too many clouds in the sky. Probably about 25, 27 degrees Celsius. So crazy the difference in temperature from where I am currently to you. So I do hope you are warm, you got that fire on, and you are enjoying the show with us this morning. So we've had a good start to the show here with those Inyalas and this hippo. Why don't we head over to Jamala and have a look, see what's happening? Well, welcome to Jamala, where we've got a small little herd of elephants, as well as a herd of zebra that have come down to drink. So always great to. Oh, and some warthogs. They're on the other side of the waterhole. The elephants just chase them away. But it's always nice to be at Jamala, where it's often a lot of elephants that come down to drink. It's always nice when we do have animals coming down towards the water to drink that we just take it in. It's live at the Waterholes, a beautiful show just to take in the sounds of nature, just enjoy what we're looking at. Jive Bunny, you asking if it's two different herds of elephants? I think it is different, two different herds of elephants, and often elephants will share water holes. I mean, elephants are not territorial, so you won't often see elephants fighting over water or things like that. I mean, sometimes when you see a herd of elephants that's 40 or 50 together, often that could be 5 or 6 different herds of elephants that have all come together to feed, and you might see them together for a couple of days and then they'll wander off. So I'm sure this is 2 different herds of elephants. Like I was saying, they're happy to share the water with one another.
A lot goes on behind the scenes of a safari. Sign up to be an explorer and get exclusive access to Behind the Safari.
Sit back, relax, and take a deep breath.
Learn more about the WildEarth team.
I would not normally keep it on the dashboard, but I'm going to show it to you there.
Come along for the surprises and chaos. Download the WildEarth app today. WildEarth, connecting with nature.
No, you asking, do young elephants ever get left behind by the herd? Definitely. Sometimes younger elephants, especially if there's like two younger males, they often will play around with one another, spar with one another. If they're in the water, they'll sometimes then mess around with one another. Especially if it is quite a large herd, sometimes they'll get left behind. But they've got extremely good sense of smell, um, so they are able to pick up the scent of the herd where the herd's gone, and they're then able to follow that scent, and they'll be able to then find the rest of the herd. So even if it does seem like they get left behind, they will be able to find um, the rest of the herd. And then we've got some warthogs that are just feeding in the outskirts of the water. It's quite incredible to see how they're on their knees feeding. And if you see, you can see that their necks are very short. So it is quite tough for them if they do stand up and feed. It's a lot easier for them if they're on their knees and they're able to then use that nose as a shovel in order to find what they're looking for. But yeah, you can see that these two warthogs, they're actually moving around some of the dung. It looks like old elephant dung. And so maybe there's a couple of nutrients and seeds and fruits and things like that in that elephant dung that these warthogs are looking for. And sometimes you do find animals will eat the dung of other animals. And we call that coprophagy, the scientific term. And sometimes they'll eat the soil, and you call that geophagy. And sometimes you'll see animals eating the soil for different nutrients that they can't get out of whatever they're eating. Jav Bunny, you saying that the elephants love this freshwater pipe? You are 100% correct. So often you'll find here at Jamala where the elephants do drink quite close to the camera. That's actually where this water hole is pumped. Apologies, everybody, got something stuck in my throat. That's actually where the water is pumped. So you'll find that's the freshest water. And that's exactly why those elephants are drinking at that specific spot. Well, Fuller, you are asking, are these the adults that usually frequent this waterhole with the two youngsters? To be honest with you, Fuller, it's very tough to say that this is the adults that do frequent this waterhole. Um, it's very tough to identify specific warthogs, so I couldn't tell you, to be dead honest. So I'm not going to try and work my way around this question, but it could possibly be. Um, we do often see these warthogs around here, so it could be, but I'm not 100% sure. It does really look like these warthogs are eating the ground. I'm sure there are some specific seeds or things like that that they are looking for within the elephant dung, but they definitely are also feeding on the ground. Lionel, you are asking which predators do you think warthogs could outrun, if any? So warthogs they are extremely fast animals. They the acceleration is very very quick, and they are able to outrun quite a lot of predators. I mean, often they'll outrun lions, or leopard, the thing comes in often why they are able to then outrun them is that often the lions they running after that warthog, and that warthog, if it decides to go left, as soon as it turns left, that lion then has to, in a split second, make that decision. Okay, I also need to go left. So often would like warthogs will outrun lions because they run left, right, left, right, left, right, and that lion's then unable to make that quick decision in order to chase that warthog. So they do then often outrun them. Um, but it is sometimes a case where lions and leopards will catch warthogs. It's a very nice meal for them. Jive Bunny, you're saying it's cute when the warthogs run with their tails up like aerials. Yeah, definitely. Often what happens when warthogs do run, their tails will go up. Oops, the warthog got a bit of a fright and ran off. Often when they do run, their tails stand up exactly like Jive Bunny is saying, like aerials. And it's actually a follow me sign. So they often will follow one another by looking at the tail, especially in long grass and things like that. Follow, you saying is that why zebras, antelopes, etc. zigzag when being predated upon? 100%. That's exactly why animals won't run in a straight line when running away from something like a lion or a leopard. That's often why they do zigzag, because it's tough for that predator to make that split second decision to change direction. And often, if they have to change direction quite often, then they do get tired quite quickly. And so that's why they do zigzag. So I think the zebras and warthogs and elephants have moved off here from Jamala. Why don't we head over to Ukuyu and see what's happening? Kennedy, and you saying that you thought warthogs had bristly hair all over, but this one only has hair down its spine. So warthogs are very hairy, and they do have that very coarse hair all over their body, but on their spines, that's where it's it's a lot longer, or on their mane, as we call it. That's where it's a lot longer, and that's why you can see quite a lot of it. But if you do ever get very up close to a warthog, they are very, very hairy. So they do have lots of hair all around.
Do you yearn for a seamless and tranquil connection to nature? Download the WildEarth app and become an explorer to enjoy ad-free viewing. Stay tuned into your favorite shows and enjoy the sights and sounds of nature uninterrupted. Explorer subscriptions are available monthly, biannually, and yearly. Sign up today. WildEarth, connecting with nature.
Fuller, you are wondering, is there a reason why animals have manes? So there are reasons why animals do have manes. For example, we can speak about lions. So often, I mean, lions, the mane is there on the male to attract females. Often the bigger mane, the darker it is, it will often then attract females. But also that mane's there to protect their neck during fights. So often when males do fight one another, they often claw at one another or try and bite one another. And that mane is said to protect them from one another or from the fights. And sometimes it just protects them from the claws and things like that. So there are definitely reasons why animals do have manes. Quite a big herd of springbuck that are now coming down. It is an amazing part of Namibia to be up at Etosha. Why don't we head over to Juma and see what's happening? So back at Juma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, we'll be back with our hippo in the water. So we're just having a scan around the water at the moment just to see what might be around. And we do know that that hippo is in the water, but you never know what else might be around. We're hoping as it does get a little bit later on that there's going to be some more elephants that come down to the water to drink, and we're joined by two hippos. In fact, not just one. We are hoping as it does get a little bit hotter later on that there'll be a lot more elephants that come down to drink, whether it's here at Juma or Madikwe. AJ Friedberg, you are asking, is the new baby hippo still there? It, there we go. It looks like the baby hippo is there. If you look on the right hand side, close to the other hippo, you can just see that small little head. So your question has been answered. I think that baby hippo AJ was listening to you and decided to pop up and say hello. Uheli, you are asking, do hippos give birth in the water? They do, in fact, give birth in the water. So hippos will mate in the water as well as give birth in the water. Often you'll find when they do give birth, they'll spend time on the outskirts of the waterhole, where it's a little bit more shallow, and that's where they will then give birth to their youngster.
"2024 is here, and it's sure to be our best year yet. Come along and join us on the 21st of January for a company update town hall that's open to all registered viewers. We will update our viewers on where we are, discuss what's to come in the new year, and answer any questions. Watch it live on the WildEarth app. WildEarth, connecting with nature.
So we're gonna keep an eye on these hippos, see what they do get up to. But for now, let's head over to Jamala and see what's happening. So we've got a buffalo bull that's made himself at home here in the water. Does look like a nice spot to be there in the mud and water. I'll just show you that it is quite a hot day in Madikwe. Often when you see animals mud bathing, like this buffalo is doing, it does say that it's a very, very hot day. And up in the Madikwe area, it can often get to over 40 degrees Celsius. So you can imagine being a nice big buffalo. It must be very nice for this buffalo to mud bathe. And also what they do when they mud bath, they cake themselves in the mud in order to get rid of parasites such as ticks. So they'll often roll around in that mud, and it often will then suffocate those ticks. And then what this buffalo will do is wait for the mud to dry, and after it's dried, then they'll go find a nice tree, fallen over tree, or tree with some rough bark. And what they'll do is they'll then rub up against that and remove all those parasites from its body. See the African spoonbill there in the top left-hand corner. It's just filter feeding. How incredible is this? Just to see this buffalo literally lying flat on its side. Buffalo doesn't seem like it's impressed with that African spoonbill that's come and interrupted it. Seems like this buffalo is now trying to find a different spot and settle down again. It's found itself on a bit of an island in the middle of this waterhole at Jamala. Or maybe he's had enough. Let's see what he does. So have a look there and see what this buffalo is doing. It's using that fallen over tree as a scratching post or rubbing post. Um, might just be a little bit of an itch, but also, like I was saying a little bit earlier, often what they'll do is to rub off the parasites and things like that. And that's exactly what this buffalo may be doing. Rhino, one you asking, do the buffaloes rest in the water as a prevention against cats as well as cooling down? Um, to be honest with you, no. I don't think they go into the water to prevent cats from getting them. I have, however, seen buffaloes run into water when getting chased by cats, but if the lions do really want to get to that buffalo, they're going to go into the water to get that buffalo, and I'm sure the buffalo do know that. So I don't think they go there just to get away from the cats. It might be a good spot to rest to be able to see if there are any cats coming. And also lions, they don't really enjoy water, so they're going to try and um, not go into the water. But if they need a meal and they can see a nice tasty meal there, they will definitely go into the water. So buffalo's really enjoying that scratching post. Seems like this buffalo's had its scratch. Oh no, it's going for some more. Lady Macbeth, you saying that scratching posts are so useful when tracking? 100%. Um, Often, if you are tracking something like a buffalo herd or rhino or elephants, often if that elephant or rhino or buffalo has used that scratching post, you can often go up to that post and feel the mud. You can feel how wet it is or how dry it is. Also, I mean, in between the hoofs, the mud will often fall off between the hoofs. Um, Also, they are moving, they'll drop the mud, and I mean, you can often tell how fresh it is from that. And just from experience, being out in the bush, you're able to then tell maybe 10, 20 minutes old or older than that. Rosie from the USU asking, shouldn't a buffalo keep with the herd for safety? So definitely. Um, Safety in numbers is a massive thing out here in the African bush. But so this buffalo here is a buffalo bull that's actually been kicked out of a herd, or sometimes not even kicked out, just can't keep up with the herd. And so he's now fallen away from the herd. He's too old to mate. So he's also not protecting them and things like that. And he's now going to spend time alone. Um, what he'll do is he'll either join up with other buffaloes, other male buffaloes, and spend time within a bachelor herd, or he'll just spend time alone. And these are often the buffaloes that go down to lions. Caitlin, boss, you are wondering, how do you tell the difference between a female and a male buffalo? So the easiest way to tell the difference is by looking at the horns. So I mean, you can either also look between the legs, the penile sheath, it's the protective covering. You can see that on a male, and you won't be able to see that on a female. But the most common way to tell the difference is the horns. So male buffaloes have what we call a boss, which is almost like a protective crown on the head, where the females don't. And that's actually used for fighting. So when they do fight with one another, they use that protective crown to protect their skull. You can imagine almost a ton running at a ton. It can be quite something. And we're now joined by a herd of impalas.
Nurture your connection with nature with our weekly newsletter. Become an explorer and receive the latest word from the wild in your inbox. Catch up with your favorite WildEarth characters. Watch the week's memorable wildlife encounters. Stay up to date with the happenings and what to expect from WildEarth. Sign up today and get the best seats on the largest safari vehicle in the world. WildEarth, connecting with nature.
So it's actually quite interesting. If you look at this herd of impalas, I don't actually see a male. Um, Often you'll see one male to many different females, so the harem leader, but I don't see a male here. The only thing I'm looking out for is the horns. Oh, there's an elephant. So sometimes what does happen is you might find that a male from a particular herd has gone away and is now fighting another male, or they've had a territorial dispute and they're fighting, chasing one another around and things like that. And so he might come back at some point. So this actually does look like the same elephants we had the other day. We were speaking about the elephants being left and right-handed. And I remember this elephant's having a broken left tusk and then quite a sharp right tusk. And so this elephant bull might be spending some time around this area. Maybe there's nice fresh nutrients. I mean, there's a water hole, so it's basically got everything it needs. It doesn't have to go too far. This elephant's enjoying that fresher water. Somebody earlier was saying that they enjoy the fresh water pipe. And this is actually where that water hole is pumped. So it's the freshest of the water. And that's exactly why this elephant is now drinking from there.
When we started our donation drive on the 28th of December, we'd hoped to raise $15,000 for critically needed technical equipment. Your generosity has seen us raise more than $50,000 from 400 amazing supporters. Needless to say, we're overwhelmed and massively grateful. Two incredible viewers, GC and Bramble1, donated $5,000 and $15,000 respectively. Our profound thanks to each and every one of you.
Rana, when you are wondering, will the Ellie's broken tusk regrow? So, no, it won't regrow. So, the tusks are actually an extension of the teeth. So, it's an extension of the tooth. Apologies. So, it will continue growing, but it's not going to regrow that broken part. So, unfortunately, this elephant has that broken tusk for life. Often you find these elephants, they'll drink water where it's the freshest, and then they often go to that left-hand side where those impalas are to then throw mud and cake themselves in mud. It's also the spot where often you see the warthogs. You can see how wet and muddy that elephant is. You can see it's throwing that mud on itself. Now going to be cooling itself down. You can imagine that mud on it, and when the wind blows, it can then cool itself down. Constantly also flapping those ears, cooling its whole body down. So it is approaching 1 o'clock now, and I just want to thank Africams for being so generous and kind and coming on board and opening up a lot of different locations to us. So thank you, Africams.